I'm JamesC64. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. In this video, we're talking about thunder breathing from Demon Slayer. Now, we've already gone through water breathing and the stone breathing branches. Now we're moving on to our third out of the 5 breathing style branches, which is the thunder breathing branch, which is we have thunder breathing and we have sound breathing. This video is obviously focused on thunder breathing. Now, who uses thunder breathing? Great question. That is obviously Zenitsu, who is a member of the main cast. We have Kaigaku, who was Zenitsu's senior, training under the same master, and we have Jigoro, who, there's a picture up on the screen of all of them, who was actually the master who trained, and he's a former Thunder Hasher as well. He is Zenitsu's grandfather who trained both Kaigaku and Zenitsu in the ways of thunder breathing, is the best way to put it. Now, where did thunder breathing come from? Like a lot of the core breathing styles, the core 5, thunder breathing came from the golden age of the Demon Slayer core. Now, if you don't know what I'm referring to, this is when Yoruichi Tsuchikuni, the progenitor or the creator of sun breathing, joined the Demon Slayer core, and he tried to teach his fellow Demon Slayer core members sun breathing. Unfortunately, they lacked the natural talent that Yoruichi had, so they weren't able to learn sun breathing. So what did he do? He focused on each one of their individual strengths and weaknesses, creating the branch offs from sun breathing, which were later on named down the line. And you know, it wasn't straight away once they had their own breathing style. It was actually, they had a bit of time to master it, and it was a few years later. Is that information about them naming it a few years later super important? No, I just thought it was fascinating. So that's where thunder breathing, like a lot of the core 5, including water, stone, and the others which we haven't talked about yet, came from. Now, as you may know, thunder breathing has 7 forms, which we'll be talking about in a minute. See, you might think 6 because in the first season that's what we're told. Ooh, is this going to be spoilers? This will definitely... I'll work around and try and have as little spoilers and as much spoiler warnings as possible, because even if you've watched season 3, this will still have spoilers, especially for what's going to happen. So yeah, I'll give you a warning, but let's jump straight into talking about what is thunder breathing. How does it work? So just like a lot of the other breathing styles, you imagine yourself kind of controlling and manipulating lightning or thunder. Now, once again, these are only visual effects for us, for the watcher, to understand what is actually happening. Unlike most of them, you actually do, while using thunder breathing, you actually do create the sound of thunder. This is based off of how quick you're moving, which is obviously very, very impressive, and this is a breathing style heavily focused on speed and quick attacks and powerful attacks all in the one go. Now, the way this style mostly works and how it, like, the best benefit for it, which is what we learned from Zenitsu actually telling us, is that you focus most of your power, your strength, and your energy kind of into your legs, which obviously makes sense because you need to move very fast in order to be able to use the breathing styles. So let's jump straight into it by talking about breathing style number 1, which, as you may have seen multiple times, this is Thunderclap and Flash. We see Zenitsu do this all the time. This is a quick, straightforward movement and a single strike. Now, Zenitsu has mastered this so much to the point that he actually has 3 different versions, and we've actually seen at least 2. I don't know if we've seen the third one yet. I cannot remember. We've seen at least the 6-fold and the 8th-fold so far. 6-fold is just much stronger and faster, and you actually repeat this linear dash 6 times. We see him use it during the Spider Forest arc. And we see 8-fold, which is the same thing but 8 times instead of 6, and once again increase the speed and strength even further. We see him do this in the Entertainment District arc in season 2 against Daki. Do you know where he zips around the place? That's what that is. That's Thunderclap and Flash, but 8-fold. Because if it was just the original one, he would move and then he would have to restart the ability. Because he's managed to master it so many times, he can do it continuously one after another. But we do hear him say in season 2, after using it, that, oh no, he does use Godspeed, which is the last one in season 2 as well, which is, once again, just the same thing, not like way buffed, which is actually really cool, but it's just a buffed version of Thunderclap and Flash, which is stupidly strong, but it's so strong that, similar to Tanjiro and Sun Breathing, using this puts a strain on his body. So in his current state that we see him in, he can only use it up to 2 times a day before, and if he used it a third time, it would actually kill him. Now, obviously, he does get stronger. Before someone says, that's a spoiler. No, it's not. Sorry, I just have a lot of people telling me, spoiler, spoiler, spoiler. But yeah, so it's actually very cool, and man, he actually uses it later on in the manga against Muzan. So that shows you the fact that he skipped 6-fold and 8-fold and went straight to Godspeed shows you how good it is. Now, let's talk about the 7th form, which was also created by Zenitsu way later on in the anime. It'll be past season 3. If you want to stay and listen to it, you can. If not, this is a slight but not actually a spoiler warning. The 6th form is Flaming Thunder God. What a badass name. But to be honest, this is actually just like an improved version of first form, where it's just a really powerful quick strike forward, but it's just completely improved on the first form. So he's learned everything. It's basically Godspeed without any flaws, because Godspeed is worked off of the just regular Thunderclap and Flash, but this is completely separate but with the same idea, just completely, and it's just a badass version. It's like the regular like NPC version versus the boss version, do you know, if that makes sense. Like, so going forward from this is actually complete spoilers, even for the Hashira training arc. If you continue, and this has a lot to do with the other guy, Zenitsu's rival or his superior. Yeah, so you've been warned. Kaigaku? Yeah, Kaigaku. Oh my god, thankfully I remembered his name. So this is a lot to do with Kaigaku. You have been warned. This is a character we have seen once. So if you don't want spoilers, move along. If you maybe already know these spoilers, or if you don't care, because it's easy to find, to be honest. But yeah, so Kaigaku became a demon, and that's when we see him use forms 2 to 6. And so these aren't the original forms, but obviously we don't see Zenitsu use any of them, so we don't know what the original forms are. The only times we see Kaigaku use it is with he infuses the Demon Slayer style, breathing styles, with his Blood Demon art, and he actually makes his sword out of his Blood Demon art, out of his skin, because he can't use a regular Nichiren sword because he's a demon now, so he can't actually hold it. So we're going to jump straight into it, which is Rice Spirit, which is form number 2, and this is where he infuses 5 electric arching slashes, and they're all at the exact same time. They're all simultaneously going off. Now, form number 3, which is Thunderstorm, which is where he surrounds his enemy in lightning. Now, you're going to notice that a lot of these are actually either identical with a tiny difference, or the exact same with a different ranged ability. Like, look at number 4. This is Distant Thunder, and what this is multiple strikes in linear direction, but at so let's say he shoots out in a star direction is basically a good way to put it. Was that number 5 or number 4? I think we're on number 5 now, which is Heat Lightning, and this is a ranged single attack of lightning. A lightning bolt shoots out from his sword. It's a ranged attack, and basically if it hits you, it'll cook you to a crisp. Or cook whoever it hits to a crisp. And it's so weird. These attacks aren't built for demons. That's what I'm so used to talking about this, but they're not. They're actually built for the Slayers, which is weird talking about, because I'm so used to being like, oh, the demon, but it's the enemy now, not the demon, because his enemy isn't a demon. I've already given you a spoiler warning, so this is your own fault if you get mad. And then the last form, which is form number 6, which is Rumble and Flash, which is a long-range strike. Once again, it's just an increased distance of a singular strike. And there's obviously literal... Oh, it's black lightning, by the way. His lightning isn't like yellow, it's actually black because of his Blood Demon art. which is actually quite fascinating. This is everything there is to know about thunder breathing, including these spoilers. Hopefully it didn't actually spoil it for you, and if it did, hopefully this was useful information that you found fascinating. The next video will be on sound breathing and on Tengen Uzui, the sound Hashira. Now, if you like this, subscribe, hit the like button. Let me know if you enjoy it. Let me know what series you want to see after the Demon Slayer series. Let me know what branch you want to see next after I'm done sound breathing. Do you want to see wind or do you want to see flame breathing? Let me know in the comments.